But yeah. All right. So anything else to talk about with Spider-Man? You want to go into the Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So now, everyone, if you haven't seen the Amazing Spider-Man, I suggest you to click off and come back after you see the film. So, Will, so this is the 10th anniversary of Amazing Spider-Man. Of course, this is directed by Marc Webb. Of course, this is the first to star Andrew Garfield, and Emma Stone, and Rhys Ifans as the Lizard, and Denis Leary as Captain Stacy. Um,
Hmm.
um, so after the Raimi trilogy was officially done, when I think the news happened when Raimi said he was no longer going to direct it, and then we're going to get this reboot. What was your opinion on the announcement of having another reboot so early? Because that was the main talking part during this film's production.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I think at the time, I think I was just excited to have another one,
okay,
like another, I
yeah,
think. Um, yeah, I don't think I'd have that take now. I think 4 years is not enough time to like
yeah,
cool down. But
yeah. 5 years,
I,
5 years,
okay,
07 to 12.
right. I always think that Spider-Man 3 came out in '08 for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just remember it
Oh my
being
god.
in '08. Um, yeah, I think they needed more time.
Okay.
And but at the time, I was excited.
Okay. Uh, okay. So, my opinion.
But I was done talking, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Because yeah, our internet connection is unstable because of the weather, but whatever. Yeah, I had to wait and see. Feel to the film. Like I couldn't judge it. I think the trailers were very good. I think they were well edited. Um, like it wasn't like the Man of Steel problem where it was going to be dark. Sake of dark. Um, and I think the casting of Andrew Garfield looked great. I think he looked like Spider-Man. I think, and
Hmm.
I think of course casting Emma Stone was really exciting. I think at the time I did saw Easy Eight in my class one day or something like that. So I was very impressed
Hmm.
of seeing her, and I think she was really great. I think this is my first exposure to Emma Stone. I think. Um, because I didn't see the Help or Easy A. I think it was like afterwards of the amazing films. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess let's get into like overall thoughts. I think this movie is a very good reboot. I think it doesn't do the problematic problems of a reboot that's doing the dark tone. I think this movie like understands Spider-Man as a character, and
Hmm.
like understands the moral code and like value of what Spider-Man is to people, and like the comic book fans, and like they do that very successfully. Like I like how the movie's like when he was trying to chase down Uncle Ben's killer, but when he saves the two people on the bridge, the father and
Hmm.
son, and like he realized, okay, now I need to really need to become a hero, and like I love that, and like
Hmm.
it's one of the most touching scenes, and I think it's this is where they understand Spider-Man, and like, and I think they really did a good job of developing more on the personal, like intimate relationships to Peter and his supporting characters more, like the girlfriend and Gwen Stacy, and a bit more with Aunt May, which I like.
Hmm.
Um, the grounded and personal stuff is the best part of the film. The worst part for me in this film is the comic book stuff, like the Luther thing, the whole conspiracy with. Well, at the time I was waiting for the sequel, how they gonna handle it, but at the time I just didn't have opinion with that. But
Yeah.
the stuff with the lizard was very underwhelming, and I feel like the action wasn't like it wasn't going to be Sam Raimi level, but it was decent and it was serviceable. So, what's your take on this film, Will?
Yeah, I love all of the relationship stuff, like with Gwen, with Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
Yes.
I thought the acting in this movie is better than like any of the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Like as I was watching it this week, it just really struck me that like Andrew Garfield is definitely the best actor that's played Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like he just gives such a great performance as Peter Parker. But yeah, no, I agree that like there are aspects of the plot that just don't work at all, and it's all the stuff with his dad,
And Oscorp.
and it's everything that was like everything that was building toward the sequel was bad, which I should have recognized at the time as a bad sign. But
Yeah.
but I loved everything else. Like I actually liked the lizard a lot in this movie.
Mm. Very intriguing. I
Yeah,
like to
I
talk
like.
more about that.
Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier about him like suffering in this movie because his family wasn't involved.
Mhm.
But I liked the relationship that he had with Peter, and I liked
Yes.
his motivation of like wanting to regrow his limb, and then like after he became the lizard and like went a little crazy, um,
Yeah.
wanting to like give that kind of like strength to everyone, like have like heal everyone by
Yeah.
turning
Be
into a lizard, which
like
is ridiculous. And like
yeah.
yeah,
Be the like apex predator, like in that line. Yeah. Like the next
yeah,
revolution, next stage of human stuff.
yeah. Like his goal was still to help humanity. He just
Yeah.
wanted to help them by turning them into lizards, which is so dumb, but
Oh
like in a
dear.
fun way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's true. Um. I. I. You mentioned the peer relationship. Yes, I do agree on that part. I like the moments when he's talking to Peer. I like how he knew Pier's father. I think that was
hmm
like like interesting angle to take the lizard, and I kind of wish we did more with that. Honestly, and um, I didn't mind. I mean, you mentioned the lizard turning people thing. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
yeah.
he did that well. I think my problem was like I feel like he should be more menacing. I think that was my issue. Like
Mm,
the lizard, I mean, yes, the plots are silly, but like him as a antagonist is frightening. Like he is a scary creature.
yeah.
Like he's scary in like the animation series, and
hmm
like in even spectacular. He like I feel like the sign of his the sign of the lizard is good, but like I didn't like that they did the face like identical to the actor thing. I kind of wish we kept the snack that you usually see with the lizard.
This, yeah, the snout.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I
did kind of look like Bowser from the Mario Bros. Movie.
oh that's that's so funny.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that's yeah. I I don't know. It's just me. I don't know. I didn't like how he look in. I don't want to get into No Way Home, but like, I didn't like his design in No Way Home for some reason. I
yeah. I definitely preferred him in the
here,
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah,
yeah. Like at least I want to give it that. Like I will say the CGI on the lizard is good in this film. I
yeah.
um
I think that's probably the only place where the CGI is good. As I
yeah.
was watching it, a lot of it has not aged well. Even
No,
like
no.
small stuff, like when glass breaks.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, the lizard. It feels like all of the budget went into making the lizard look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I well, not exactly. I think New York felt more New York here than the Raimi films. I think they spent a lot of money to create the New York streets, and like it felt New
Yeah,
York.
I I don't know. The Raimi films visit more New York locations, so like that
Yeah.
makes them feel like they're set in New York. But I do agree that the like lighting and atmosphere of this movie feels more New York.
Yeah. Um.
Um,
Yeah. I guess the thing about this movie, I kind of like before the Homecoming. It feels smaller.
mhm.
Like I like that it's not like this huge comic book like Dragon Java kind of film like the Raimi films were. I like it was small scale until we got into the lizard plot. I felt like it was like Batman Begins, but
Mhm.
like imagine if Rachel Gould wants to turn people like the people of Gotham into ninjas or scarecrows. I just think it went too far with that. Yeah, I yeah, and I guess the reason I will like disagree on the budget, I think they did a good job of making the swinging of Spider-Man good. Like, I feel like the rate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you disagree on that?
No,
Okay,
no, I agree. I agree.
okay, okay.
That was another thing that I noticed while I was watching it. I was like, the swinging in this is great.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
god, I love it. The final shot is my favorite. Spider-Man. Uh,
mm,
just this him slowing down. Like, of course, it was in 3D at the time.
right, yeah.
But it was just it reminded me of like the John Romita like panel. Like it reminded me of that.
Hmm.
Um, I will say I guess um let's kind of get into a discussion of the Spider-Man suit. This is before the MCU when we get like the variety of suits.
Hmm.
What was your opinion on this new suit that the Amazing Team did? Like, I kind of like it initially. There's things I do not care for, but what's your
Yeah,
opinion on this new suit? I'm
yeah.
kind of curious.
They perfected it in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I really liked the like proportions of everything.
Yeah.
Um, I hated the yellow eyes
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's my problem.
the spider like logo being long looked kind of weird, but I get that they wanted to differentiate it from Maguire.
Yeah. I kind of wish they did the smaller one, like or maybe like a like I don't know, like um, yeah, the Spider-Man logo is always lawn ever since what the John Romita senior days, and like
Hmm.
it's I mean I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I didn't like we didn't have like the strap belt he usually had before the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I felt that was kind of weird to remove it because he had too much blue in like
Okay.
uh underneath. I feel
Mm.
like it's that. I like the texture of like the suit. Like it looked like a spanked like suit, but
Hmm.
it looked too much like a basketball kind of look to it, and I don't know. I will say one thing I do like is the web shooters. I think that was a good
Yeah.
like I really dug the like little circle and like you
Hmm.
see the red light pumps like activate like it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was a big deal to see the web shooters finally, and like oh my god, it was like oh my god in heaven. Um, and I like that Andrew was skinny too. Like that was another good thing. Like you saw the potential when we ever got like a comic accurate Spider-Man suit. You know, later down
Hmm.
the road, of course, we did, and two with Andrew. He looked great, and I think Andrew looked the most physical right Spider-Man before Holland came
Hmm.
around. And I because I think Holland is like he's like the perfect physical fit as Spider-Man. Like he's
Yeah,
like a spitting image, but I think
yeah.
Andrew was like the most fit.
Andrew is also, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into Andrew. I will say you mentioned for you said before Andrew is the best actor playing Spider-Man. He, I think he's my personal favorite Spider-Man actor. Um,
Hmm.
just he's like the Hugh Jackman, Robert Downey Jr. level of like he cares about the character. I love his San Diego Comic Con
Yeah.
appearance he did.
Hmm.
Oh my god, one of the most iconic things, and I the best way to announce your actor. Well, he was announced before, but like be introduced to the whole world is great, and
Hmm.
I just was so sad we didn't get more of him. Well,
Yeah, me too.
before No Way Home. But he was the best thing about No Way Home. He was my
Yeah, he's
favorite.
definitely a standout.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I love Andrew in this film. I mean, he just like his emotions was great when when Ben like did his like version of responsibility speech. I love
Hmm.
his
Yeah.
counter attack of like where's my dad here, like that scene
Yeah.
makes it better. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. And it's really his performance that makes that scene.
Yes. Oh my god. I he's so great. Um uh, and is he your number one? Like I try to remember, was it Holland number one for you when we did No Way Home podcast, right? Like
Yeah, I think it's, well, okay. In terms of like acting ability,
mhm.
I think it's Andrew Garfield.
Yes, I agree.
But as like an adaptation of the character, I would say Holland.
Mm,
But like
s-
Garfield's a close second.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I agreed. It's tough. I think I like Andrew more because his writing feels more Spider-Man than Holland. Like I don't want to get too much of the we discussed it in the 60th anniversary talk,
Hmm.
but I Andrew still feels like the comic book Spider-Man, and like everything is there. Like Ben is there, the responsibility is there, but it's different, of course, but it's fine for me. Um, May's there. Gwen, we have a comic book character love interest we know. Then this very radical, like, um, the version of a character we know, like, I'm talking about MJ, Michelle Jones, and the Holland
Hmm.
films. Like, I think Andrew is one step ahead of Holland for me because he's more comic accurate character, but also they're contemporary also, and it's actually well done compared to any reboot. I would say I like this version of Gwen Stacy. I don't know. I At the time
Hmm.
I didn't know Gwen was a scientist or that. I think it was good to make her a scientist here to
Hmm.
fit with Andrew's peer because
Yeah.
we were dealing more the scientific stuff of Spider-Man, which I appreciate about this reboot, and
Yeah.
I
And
think they nailed it well.
mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Um,
no, I agree. And I think it gave her like more of a role in the
mhm,
film. And it gave her more like agency. Like she actually had things to do that would affect the plot.
yeah,
Um, she wasn't just like a damsel in distress. She was actually like doing things and helping.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I she's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into Gwen Stacy. Yeah, she's great. Another thing they do well with her was she understands the role. I like that we kept the police stuff from her background from the comics.
Hmm.
I like that we introduced Captain Stacy. Well, again, I mean, both of these characters first appear in Spider-Man 3. Weirdly, I
Hmm.
I I forgot about that. I was like, wait a minute, this is the first time. No, no, Stacy popped up as Spider-Man 3 as well. Um, Weirdly. Anyway, I think it was good to, make the appointments that, Gwen knows the the danger she's up to. Like she knows that already with her father being the captain and the police and stuff. I
Hmm.
really appreciate that. I like yeah, and I like how she's proactive and like she's not this very selfish, pardon my French bitch. Sometimes like that how Kristen Dunst's version of Mary J was in the Raimi trilogy, which I did not like. And I appreciate she was an understanding person. And like I like how she and Pierre had the same like they had like the same ticks and like passion that they had and signs and stuff like that. That all worked very well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I was shocked that I finding out that Emma Stone, like her color was actually blonde, and because like, did you have the time like, did you have conversations with your friends like? It was weird that because at the time of this movie, she was a redhead, and she could have been a good Mary J as well. I did want to bring
Yeah,
that up, like
yeah, she could have been.
yeah, and it's so funny how just her turning into blonde just made it all work, which is
Hmm.
great. But yeah, she's amazing. She's my favorite comic book love interest in any live action movies after Tony and Pepper and Steve and Peggy. Um, and
Okay.
then yeah,
Yeah, I think she
um,
might be my favorite. I've never
yeah,
thought about it before, but
yeah. It's far in there's like few in between, unfortunately.
hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. And then what's your opinion on Captain Stacy? He got more a bigger role here than Spider-Man 3, of course.
Yeah,
Um, did you
I
like do you like
yeah,
Denis Leary?
I do. Denis Leary was great. Um, yeah, I don't know. I liked his like relationship with Gwen, um, his relationship with Peter. Um, I would have liked to have seen more of him.
Yeah. Um, I wish we didn't kill him off.
Yeah.
I because Stacy is very like important character during the Civil Age of the Spider-Man run, and
Hmm.
then and also in Spectacular. But I think killing off made sense. I didn't like the stuff they did with him in Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the ghosts of Stacy and all that.
Hmm.
Um, but that's just me, maybe. But
Yeah, and I'm there's very little about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I like. So
yeah, um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Okay, what else we have to mention? Oh, I guess one thing I did like, I like about this film. It felt more comic book, like we're borrowing various things from the Spider-Man lore than I like that this reboot continued what I like about the Raimi trilogy was borrowing a couple of things from the lore of Spider-Man from comics and medium. I like that they took the spectacular Spider-Man way of like having like Norman or like the Oscar be the one that created the villains. I like that idea initially. Um until,
Hmm.
obviously I didn't mind it. I just wish we didn't focus on it as like a expanded universe. I just wish we just kept it small and like say, okay, like Norman needs to defeat Spider-Man, and it was different from Spectacular where Tombstone was the big man, as he was referring in that show. He was trying to distract Spider-Man with the bigger villains so that his small crew can steal and get the profits he was trying to do.
Hmm.
Here I like the idea of like Oscorp making the villains of Spider-Man's Rose Gallery. What you thought about that? Like it was a good way to be efficient.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I liked the like genetic engineering um twist on like the origin for Spider-Man and a lot of his rogues gallery because
Yes.
they are all like animal themed, and then it goes along with like with the original Spider-Man origin, it was like a radioactive spider because radioactivity was like the big
Thing.
fear of the time.
Ooh, that's
And
true.
then like 2012, there's a lot of like fear mongering around genetic engineering and that kind of thing. So it was like
Oh,
a modernization of that. I thought it
yeah.
worked really well.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Because in the Raimi trilogy, it was like a genetically enhanced spider, right?
Yeah, it's just the same thing. It just
Okay,
they really doubled down on it for the Amazing Spider-Man films, and I thought it worked really well.
that's true. I like it too. I just wish I think we can get into now the villain plan because I think one of my main issues with both film series um is that the villains were way too fantastical for these grounded films that they're trying to do. And I I feel like maybe we shouldn't have more grounded villains like Vulture and Mysterio were in the Holland MCU films.
Hmm.
Um, I because I like the Lizard and Electro. I think they were good potential main villains, but in hindsight, I feel like they were way too fantastical for these films and what they're trying to do. I feel like
Yeah,
I I kind of wish we had Craven or the Chameleon as villains for these films. I think made it more sense. But
yeah. No,
I
I
don't know.
agree. And
But
like I think you can justify the lizard because it's the same like
yes,
science as the spider. But
yes.
no,
Um,
Electro definitely. I mean, again, like
yeah.
the Amazing Spider-Man 2 took so many wrong turns.
Yeah. So many run turns. I because you mentioned the peer and like at least the lizard, the relationship with the hero and villain makes sense
Hmm.
and it is with the hero where the electro thing is not even connected to Spider-Man. Like he's like a very undeveloped character. Like it, he doesn't know Peter. Like we're doing more with the Harry and Peter stuff in the Amazing Spider-Man too.
Right.
Um, and
Which
again, just and another afterthought is like why we need Harry in this film. It's
yeah,
just
why do we need to do that again? We already did that.
yeah, exactly. Um, oh my
Yeah.
god. So we got okay, what we're talking about? Will remind me again.
Uh Harry.
Harry. Oh, yeah. Let's get into the. I think that's good to lead into the conversation of leading into familiar territories to the Raimi films and to this film.
Hmm.
I think the biggest letdown with these films is that honestly they rebooted too early, but I feel like they lean too far to like the extreme measures of trying to be different, but then they have these weird coincidences of familiar scenes or setups that Raimi did. Like, yeah, you mentioned Harry. I I mean Harry. The setup of Harry was I wish they had Harry here. You know, like
Hmm.
Harry is a important character. To set up him as the second Goblin. Um,
Yeah.
like I don't have the problem of having Harry become the first Goblin over Dorman because we did that twice in the '90s show. Hobgoblin was the first Goblin. The Spectacular Spider-Man, the Green Goblin was a mystery, but it was Harry was the one that was the Green
Hmm.
Goblin in that universe. So I I just don't know where is that logic in not having Harry here in this movie. So you know, have him in the sequels just didn't make
Yeah.
sense.
I feels like from a production perspective, they made this first movie and then they're like, oh great, like we've got a successful Spider-Man franchise on our hands. Let's cram
Yeah,
everything we want to do into the second one.
yeah, I know. Oh my
And it
god,
just exploded.
explode. I mean, far worse than Spider-Man 3. Like,
Yeah. It,
I oh my god, at least for Spider-Man 3, I I I I don't know how you rank your films. I it's always a toss up which is the worst. But at least Spider-Man 3 is a Raimi film. Like it still feels like the first two, but it just has less focus. It's not tightly written like those
Yeah.
films are.
No,
And
I definitely always put Amazing Spider-Man 2 at the bottom.
hmm, I should do that because I don't know. Maybe it's because the music for Hans Zimmer with the electro, just like I enjoy that more.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh god. Um, and then I guess another one that was like why do we need like Peter do the wall walking again, like him discovering his power, like like he did when like when Parker leaves from school after having that fight with Flash
Hmm.
and stuff. Yeah, I actually have Amazing Spider-Man 2 as my 10 bottom list. Okay, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, but yeah, I that was weird. And then what was the other familiar one that like was similar to like him waking up very disoriented, like was similar to
Hmm.
Raimi's film. So I'm blanking on what other ones that were like like similar to the first film in The Amazing. Um, I trying to figure out. Oh, so the civilians helping out Spider-Man. That was like very much Raimi.
Yeah.
Like the
Hmm.
cranes and like
Yeah.
Spider-Man had like it was kind of similar to Raimi's first two Spider-Man films. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
don't think it was done as well as the Raimi movies.
oh really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer this because it was the same person that he saved. Like we knew him.
Yeah. I like that. I
Um,
don't know. All the cranes being perfectly lined up uh,
yeah,
is kind of convenient.
yeah. It was goofy. I mean,
Yeah, it
I,
feels really like cheesy in a way that the rest of the movie didn't.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Uh,
yeah.
I guess. Quick question. Do you think the dark tone was maybe unnecessary, or you think it was actually at least a good attempt to it compared to some other superhero reboots? Like, I feel this was handled better than Man of Steel or
Yeah.
Fantastic. Uh,
Yeah. No, I definitely think it was handled better. I think it helped differentiate it from the Raimi movies. I just wish
mhm.
they'd been a little more consistent with it.
Yes, I agree on that. Um, but yeah, ugh. Yeah, I wish so. Yeah, because at least this film was not like mean spirited like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like the Man of Steel was way too dark. It was way cynical, and I hate when film like the creators or the people that are involved with the film are saying these positive and like in a special in a special things to this character that we care about, like
Hmm.
Superman. But
Hmm.
that's not what I seen in the movie at all. And like I don't mind Man of Steel. I'm not like the Man of Steel hater, but like I I disagree with what they say sometimes when they're talking about the film. And then here, I think the creators did a really good job of like they were very consistent what was going on in the film, and that was good. The stuff with the lesser stuff is like it's up to you if you accept the silliness of that, you know. But yeah, I think that's good. What do you thought about the action? Um, I I mean, eh,
It
I-
was okay. There's one scene where he's fighting the lizard at Midtown Science High that I like.
yes,
I like that fight scene a lot.
yes.
Um,
Um, one of the
but other
best.
than that,
Yeah,
mhm.
one of the best Stanley cameos.
Oh yeah,
That
it's a good one.
oh my god, just seeing the lizard versus Spider-Man, and then while he's like cleaning the library, oh my god, that was so hilarious. Oh my god, it was like my favorite after his cameo in Thor. Um,
Yeah, with
Yeah,
the truck. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, did I get it, guys? It was so funny. Oh my god. Stanley, I love him.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The mid tie was really great. It reminded me of the issue with Sandman when he attacked Peter in the school.
Hmm.
So I kind of like how they did it, but they did it with the lizard. Oh, and speaking of coolness, I like when he came out from whatever bathroom. Uh, he had the coat, the white coat. That's another thing
Yeah.
uh that I don't like about this version of the lizard or No Way Home. Is like he needs the coat. Like that,
Yeah. He wears it a few times. It just gets ripped off when he grows.
yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I do like when it's just like a giant lizard man wearing a coat.
yeah,
It's a good visual.
yeah. Like,
And it
I
reminds you that he's still like intelligent under there.
yes, I don't get it. Like, I want to see his purple pants. Like, I remember that as a kid. I mean, I want that. Come on.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm just saying, as a as a lizard fan, I feel like you need because he just looks more like Croc, but like even Croc has clothes. Like I mean I don't just Killer Croc. What I'm saying, but
Hmm.
it's just yeah. What else? We do have to mention Sally Field as Ant Man. Ant Man. Uh, I like her. I think she's not my favorite. I think the one from the Raimis she's my favorite from uh as portrayal of Aunt May. But I think Sally Field is second. I think she was really great as
Hmm.
Aunt May. I think she has more stuff to do in the second film, and I like her there as well. Um, uh,
Yeah,
yeah. I like the casting here. They did
me
a really
too.
good casting here. I like Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. I think he was a good pick. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I know we discussed about the responsibility speech. I
Hmm.
don't mind it. I think it the I think the speech makes sense. I at least
Yeah.
and I like we like make that as like a recurring theme until he hears the phone call that as a payoff
Yeah.
where it was left off. So I like the speech what he was doing and what he was trying to tell Pierre. But it is kind of weird not to say the great power
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
responsibility.
It feels like they wanted to say that, and then they were like, "Oh, but we don't want to like retread that, so we're gonna phrase it differently." But then when they phrased it differently, it was like when you have to hit a word limit, so you start like adding different phrases to
Excuse me.
your
Yes.
sentences. You know, it
Yeah.
just is too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should say you should have was it a obligation to hold what responsibility your responsibility. I think that is a good way to say that great power comes with responsibility. I think.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It was way too long, and you know, uh, just yeah, it was just a little clunky as usual.
Hmm.
And then what else? I guess what else we haven't discussed about this film? I'm looking at it now. Do you want to talk about the setup with the family and um uh, the
Um,
the potential, or you want to say that for the sequel? Because I mean, I because
uh, we can talk about it a little bit.
yeah. So uh, because I personally, for me, I think the way they did it here was, I think, good enough, but the sequel took it too far. I think in a very just
Yes.
unbelievable returns. I don't mind what Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did, where okay, Richard Parker was trying to help Norman to be cured, but then he didn't know it was going to be used for what military purposes, right? As
Hmm.
stated. That's not a bad idea, and but I kind of wish we maybe develop more of like the friendship that Richard and Norman has, and like palliate it to the sons they have, Peter and Harry. But because how Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, you mentioned before, it just they random so much stuff there. It, so many undeveloped plot points just doesn't get the attention it should have, right?
Hmm.
And but I think the way we handled the mystery and all that is good in this first film. I did not like how Peter like convenient like sees the symbols that he knows from his father notes to the guy who's like a lackey to Norman Osborn.
Hmm.
And then when it was dropped to the floor during the tour of the Oscorp building. Um, I'm trying to find the character's name. I forgot.
I know
Uh,
who you're talking about.
he's a major character. I just where
Let's see.
Penn Taylor. Not the gentleman. Not the gentleman. He was listed here somewhere. Uh
It's
oh
You're talking about the one that's played by Irrfan Khan, right?
yes, yeah, the
Yeah,
Oscars executive, like he was Connor's superior.
yeah.
Yeah, so when he dropped his folder and then like that, I did not need. I think that was way too convenient. But
Hmm.
like it wasn't as bad as Man of Steel, like how Superman finds out about the alien ship. So yeah, so it was less convenient. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. But overall, I think this film was really great. I think there was so much potential,
Hmm.
but unfortunately, that didn't happen. Um, I guess I have a question. Um, if these films were successful, if we didn't have, two being very lukewarm, do you think that Andrew was like he was maybe able to enter in the MCU? Like, if
Yeah,
there was ever a plan to put the Spider-Man character in the MCU before that ever happened?
I think he would have fit in uh, very well, especially at the time. And then I know there was plans, or there was a
Yes,
plan. Like they wanted to put Oscorp Tower in the New York skyline during the Avengers,
yes,
and they were
I
like in talks with Sony to do that.
and it didn't happen. It was weird.
Yeah.
Apparently, like they say, they couldn't add it into it because all the what VFX or whatever was done, and it's like, well, you can add in the thing right away. It's not like so much money to put a building there, right? Like,
Mhm.
I, I didn't understand that. Um, and then like if we have Andrew like as Spider-Man, you think it could be impossible to have him be in the Avengers Age of Ultron final scene because Josh mentioned how like it was like Captain Marvel was there and like originally the lineup was supposed to be the new team with Vision, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel apparently, and Spider-Man. Like, do you think that could be Andrew there or a different actor maybe? But
Uh,
it's
at
just
the time, it was 2015.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird because
Uh,
the weird thing that the deal happened uh in 2015. That's the thing
right.
people don't understand that the deal happened in 2015
Yeah.
before Age of Ultron.
Yeah. It probably would have been. a different actor, just because they already knew that the second movie hadn't done well, and they were in discussions with Marvel Studios about rebooting it within the MCU.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited for talking about the Sony hack. In the Mason Raymond too. Wild
Mhm.
things I heard since. Like apparently, did you know that I don't know? We mentioned in No Way Home. Like I don't know. Some reason Zendaya's MJ throwing the bread like was like a reference to apparently this crazy rumor of Pascal or someone throwing a sandwich at someone.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my god. We oh my god, when we get to two, we need to bring that up because that was one of the most funniest like Sony hack like gossip thing ever come from a hacking
Mhm.
uh reach. Oh my god, it's crazy. Um but yeah. Um I any more thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man? I think we covered everything for
Yeah,
this
we
film.
covered a lot.
Yeah. This film is like this film is very long. It's like 2 hours. Like it's 136 minutes. Like they have a lot to do here.
Hmm.
Um, I personally think they should have maybe cut some things. In favor of me developing more on Connor's character
Hmm.
development. And I will say there were missed opportunities or weird contradictions in this film that was weird. Like Denis Leary, Captain Stacy. Like
Hmm.
first he was talking to Pierre in the police station where Pierre was trying to tell him that Connors is doing something bad, and he, afterwards say told his one of his workers to check on Connors. And but then we get this like very typical superhero like like this one man comp doesn't like the hero, so he's doing the task force thing, like
Hmm.
that scenario, and like that came out of nowhere, and and then and then when we get into Connors, like I wish we develop more of Kirk Connors. And this is the same thing that's going to happen in two when we discuss this is the deleted scenes. I wish they kept the deleted scene of him when he was going to the jail
Hmm.
talking to his son. I really like that deleted scene. I I feel like that was very important to show it was similar how Richard was doing to Pierre, and it was apparently so much on Connor. Like I don't understand why they cut that. It's just I I just I just wish we develop more Kirk Harness because I there's things about him that is very interesting and like it's very classic Spider-Man villain and in a good way than what happened with Spider-Man 3 with Venom and Sandman and all that, right?
Hmm.
But it's so undercooked because the Venom plot is just so too fantastical. I feel like and not too like it's not grounded in the way the film is. I feel like that's the jarring part about the third act. So, but yeah. Anyway, any more thoughts after that uh point? Um, and
Um, mhm.
any more thoughts? Um,
I think I'm all right. I think I've said everything that I had to say about the movie.
that's cool. Well, Will, we're this is the last day for us to do a podcast on January. So next week is going to be February, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, so what do you want to do next, buddy? You want to do? I mentioned Spider-Man, the first Raimi film. Do you want to do that as the next podcast, or do you want to do something else? Um,
We could do the Raimi movie.
okay, let's do that. Because it's the 60th anniversary, so we can do one more talk on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, very curious about your thoughts on that film. I think it'd be
Hmm.
very cool. So thank you, Will, for joining me today for this very snowy Friday.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you for joining us for this spectacular podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion on Spider-Man's 60th anniversary talk and the amazing Spider-Man 10th anniversary talk. Me and Will will be back for next Sunday for the first Raimi Spider-Man film. Have a good weekend, you guys. Bye.